So what you just heard and saw was the new Darkglass B7K model in the AX8 and the AX8, which they have called the Blackglass 7K. This pedal, if you're unaware of it, has basically become the gold standard for modern crunchy bass tones. It's even overtaken the humble Sans amp as the go-to for a lot of modern metal guys. You know, if you've listened to Periphery or you've listened to Carnival, or any of those other bands like that, you're very, very familiar with their sort of like either hyper distorted or really clicky, crunchy bass sound. It's a big part of that style of music, and it fits in really, really well with a lot of these modern metal guitar sounds. So, given that, let's go through this new model in the AX8. I'm a really, really lousy bass player, but I'll do my best. I'm playing a Music Man Stingray that belongs to the bass player in my band. I've nicked it off him for this demo, and I'm just going to go through a couple of the controls and we can listen to some of the sounds. This is what the clean bass sound sounds like. And I'm going to turn it on now at the stock settings. So from memory, this is modeled with the grunt control on, and we can change that guy by changing the low cut frequency and basically bring it lower, because that's cutting quite a bit of low end out. If we bring that down to say 100 Hertz, we get a lot more of the natural low end of the bass guitar happening in there. I'll set it back to 230 and we'll play around with the drive control with everything else there. At low settings, you get this nice mild crunch. But it does make it sound quite anemic. So if we turn this up a little bit, and that's where the party really starts to happening. The tone control models the high shelf filter that is on the actual pedal. So if you turn this down, you're going to get a little less of that high-end zing. In fact, if you turn it down, say to about 2, and you really crank the drive, you get more of a traditional, I shouldn't say traditional when I talk about distorted bass, more of your kind of 90s, really fuzzy, crunchy bass. You know, play some King's X with that and have a great time. Or you can be a little less generous with the drive and get the tone control cranked for that periphery kind of thing. And I apologize, that's the worst periphery imitation you're going to hear today. That's just a bunch of diminished seventh stuff. Moving on, we can crank the level up and have a listen to what that does. Say if we go like high level, low drive, this is what that sounds like. Which is a little bit more towards your kind of traditional Ampeg style driven thing. But what I really like is cranking the drive up, leaving the tone where it is, and setting the mix to 50%. So this will simulate passing your dry signal or splitting your signal into a clean signal and a dry signal and blending in the distortion. Let's have a listen to that. For that one, you might want to turn the drive up a little more and the tone up quite a bit. And even turning the low cut up to about 700 hertz really, really works wonders with this. And that's if you really like the super gross distorted bass sounds. If you want more of the thing the Darkglass does the best, leave the level, say, around 5 or 6, drive around 6, and the tone, say, around 6. Just set everything to 6, and it sounds really, really good with the low cut at the default value. There we go. There's the Darkglass B7K model in the new Quantum 9.01 beta firmware. I'm using the AX8. It's also available on the AX effects. Check it out, get your bass out, and absolutely rock it.